Hi everyone, hope you are feeling positive and healthy. Please subscribe with all bell notifications if you haven't already, and please don't hesitate to leave your valuable feedback and advice below. Thank you very much. Let's jump into the stories. Update: my husband tried to close our accounts and kick myself and the kids out of our house. Here's the original, link 1 in description. First, I want to say that I logged out of this account that evening, and didn't come back until now, and I was blown away by all of the people offering food, gift certificates, or just goodwill, and I started crying. Again, I will respond to each of you individually. So, to recap, my STBX is a cheating ass, and he panicked and tried to erase his family. The update: this all happened on a Sunday, so there wasn't a lot I could do right then. I put the kids to bed, and called my mom and cried. Then, I called my mother-in-law, who was horrified. My in-laws came over that night with $200 in cash and a check for much more. My father-in-law didn't say much, but he did fix my bathroom door, which is how he shows affection, and muttered that he would fix this. I opened a new checking account at a new bank. Thanks for this advice. With the check my in-laws gave me, I opened a new credit card in my name. My mother deployed a niece to help with childcare for the next week. I called in a lot of child-minding favors, and with the cash my in-laws gave me, I was able to pay the babysitter while I worked this out. I met with 2 divorce attorneys. Both of them told me about what you had said, that he was legally screwed. I chose one, and we set the process in motion to get an emergency hearing, but by Tuesday, my old checking account had most of the money back, and my husband was asking to talk. On the advice of my lawyer, I took half of the checking account money and put it in my new bank, and kept records of everything. I pulled our creditor reports. He has over $40,000 in credit card debt. I also found out that he received a raise last year, and funneled this money out of our shared accounts. I would have figured this out when I did our taxes, and this led to him panicking and trying to erase us. Keep in mind, this a-hole gave me gonorrhea. I am an accountant by trade, and I'm afraid of CC debt the way some girls are afraid of spiders, so I was horrified about this. But my lawyer thinks it's likely that he'll have to have this debt on his own, as my name isn't on it, and it seems that most of it was spent on his side piece. We have started mediation, which he agreed to when he realized that he would need to pay for both of our divorce attorneys. My goal, which my lawyer thinks is reasonable, is to ask for alimony until I either remarry, not likely, or my 2-year-old is in school full-time, and to have a reasonable amount of child support until she's 18, and then we'll split college costs for all of them. When all the kids are in school, I can concentrate on getting back to work. I also plan to sell the house and buy a smaller house in a less elite section of town. The kids can share rooms, and I can live mortgage-free. So, I'm heartbroken and diseased, but there's also an incredible weight that is lifted from me. Our marriage has been bad for so long, and I didn't even realize how unhappy I was, and how absent my husband was. It took my 5-year-old almost a week to realize that Daddy was gone. I remember reading the original. I'm glad you came through okay, and I'm happy that your in-laws helped you. All too often in this situation, people tend to stick by family even when they've done something reprehensible. The credit card debt on top of everything else is pretty crazy. A person couldn't purposefully set themselves up to utterly ruin their own lives better than he did. I called my mother-in-law, who was horrified. God freaking bless. I'm glad it's working out for you. Sounds like you've gone through a lot. Here's to 2017 being a much better year for you. After 12 years of marriage and 2 kids, my 37 years old female husband, 37 years old male, came out as gay and we are divorcing. I am sick to death of people telling me how courageous he is and me being expected to go along with it. Is it wrong for me to want to tell them the truth? And at 3, I forgot to type this as I was just going to bed. The whole reason I came here was to know how to respond to our acquaintances when they approach me about it being so great. Mark came out. This is basically going to be my go-to response. I'm happy that Mark finally had the courage to live true to himself. But divorces are always sad, and unfortunately ours is no different. More information. Just realized I could edit after the lock. This is my first gold. Thank you so much. This has been amazing at all the support I've gotten. I don't even know how many private messages I've gotten since the lock and how many people have gone through this or had relatives through this. Things will be static for a while, but when there is news I will post an update. Right now I'm going to go hug my kids because even with all the crap, I never would have had them without Mark in my life, and they are my 2 favorite people in the world. Thank you again. I hope this doesn't get too long. I'm sorry in advance. There are lots of emotions here. Mark and I met in college and had a really great relationship. We dated until both of us finished law school, after which he proposed and I gladly said yes. At the time he was much more religious than I was and he insisted we have kids right away and that I stay at home with him to raise them while he worked. I had really wanted to start my practice as well, but I could see it was really important to him, so I relented and we had two amazing kids and his law career really took off. I was able to work from home and hire help 3 times a week, with me still in the house, to do insurance and real estate paperwork reviews. It was something. But I had really wanted to be a litigator. I was even okay with this and my resentment didn't ever really show unless Mark would remind me that stay-at-home moms should be stay-at-home moms and not work at all. Marriage turned really bad after our second child was born 8 years ago. We basically became like unfriendly roommates. I pleaded with Mark to go to counseling with me and he wouldn't. Things would get better for a few months, then it would go to crap. I would insist on divorce, but then he would remind me that religion does not allow divorce, so I would insist on counseling and the cycle repeated itself more times than I can count. Then about a year ago Mark hit me with the bombshell revelation that he has been gay since he was a teenager. I was honestly relieved for him because it seemed to explain so much of why he acted the way he did, why he was distant and overcompensating with so much. I was actually very relieved that our divorce would finally come and he could live true to himself. He moved out, but it turns out he had been having an affair with his much younger partner for about 5 years. The dates on this are very sketchy BTW because it's very possible this man was underage when he and Mark started the affair. He certainly was when he and Mark met. I grew very resentful that I was busy working my fingers to the bone to save the marriage to appease Mark's religious sentiment while he was off having sex, technically cheating on me and violating the principles of the religion only he really cared about. Our kids are also of the age that I could have easily gone back to work. But again I stayed at home to appease his desire to appear as the perfect Christian couple, all the while he is carrying on with a younger lover. Mark has also fought me at every turn over the divorce. He doesn't want to pay any alimony even though it would take me years to get my career to where I could support even half the lifestyle the kids and I lead now. He wants to pay bare bones child support and wants the image that we split custody. But in reality he makes the effort to see the kids once every couple of months and ignores their calls. He's a great lawyer, so even he has to know all he is doing is delaying the inevitable to make things hard on me. In all this time, he's taking sabbaticals from his firm and taking long vacations to places like Tavarua with his boyfriend, delaying our divorce even further. It happens almost daily, and certainly weekly, where family and friends will see me at dinners, the grocery store or restaurants. We live in an old farm community that has essentially been turned into a commuter town for the city nearby. But it retains a very small town feel, and tell me how amazing they think Mark is for living true to himself and being so courageous to finally come out. I've gone along with this because I don't want to embarrass either of us, but yesterday I was approached by an older woman from our old now thank God church who almost shamed me for keeping Mark in a relationship that he didn't want to be in. I didn't snap, but it's as close as I've come. The only people that really know how I feel are my best friend, my mom and my counselor. Is it time that I just start telling the truth when I have one of these awkward interactions? I feel that if Mark had left me for a younger woman he'd been seeing for 5 years, everyone would be expecting me to spill the beans on what a jerk he was. TLDR, my husband came out as gay. He'd been having an affair for 5 years while we struggled to keep marriage together. He's now being awful in the divorce, but our community wants me to play along and be supportive of his decision. Also, this totally blew up as I was taking kids to school. Wow, thank you everyone. Lots of people asking the same questions which I should have clarified in the beginning. Sorry about that. 1. I have a really great lawyer as of January and he's working on it. Mark did every lousy divorce trick in the book to frustrate me into settling. It took that long for me to be able to even hire a lawyer in our area. I'm lucky in that I could represent myself in preliminary hearings, which in turn allowed a judge nullify quite a bit of the crappy stuff Mark has done legally. Now that I'm going through it firsthand, I am absolutely going to go into divorce when I do finally work. I've always heard, but I'm appalled at how the dirty tricks can affect people's lives. 2. I'm not out to ruin him, which is thus far why I haven't spread the talk of his affair. I don't think most people know that he cheated on me, and even if they do, they seem to be more impressed with his coming out. I rationalize that ruining him is not in my kids or my best interest. 3. Lots of great tips and I really appreciate every comment. This was way bigger than I thought and I'm reading all of them. Thank you. I'm a gay man myself and that's great for him that he came out, but he ruined a large portion of your life. He took up your time, your career, your emotional investments. He did all that for what? Because he was too scared to face the truth. You are justified in being furious. If my partner came out and told me he was actually straight after building his career while I stayed at home and put my career on hold to help raise our family, the amount of walls and punching bags I would want to go through. Then to turn it around in court and not make right in how he wronged you. I honestly don't know how you haven't told people just what exactly he took from you. If he isn't there for the kids will figure it out regardless of the custody battle. Coming out doesn't make you a good parent. You were there for them and still are. You owe it to yourself to fight hard in the custody battle. You owe it to yourself to move on. You owe it to yourself to set the record straight when people praise him for being happy while you are left in the dust. All those years he knew he was lying and he has no respect for you. Pisses me off just reading about your situation. He's an ungrateful F. Someone call Karma and tell her she's hit the jackpot. Honey, you have been trying to do the right thing your whole life. What has it gotten you, not including your kids? Snapping at people is wrong. You live in a smaller town, so this is how you get the real story out. You wait until the biggest gossip is around and you break down. Be pathetic, cry, allow the devastation to come out. Tell them about the years of cheating, of how he knew he was gay, but married you anyway. That man cheated you out of years of your life while cheating. Let some of the stories about not seeing his kids, but having intimate time vacations out. This way you only have to tell one person and the whole community will know. P.S. Also, get some damn support. What you are going through is horrible and you are a victim. Look, even gay rights advocates like Dan Savage call that crap out. Get your kids some therapy and start taking charge of your life instead of being the good girl. 27 years old male, think my fiancé, 27 years old female, might be cheating. Throw away because friends and family know my real account. Me and my fiancée Sandra have been together for 5 years, engaged for 8 months. Things were going great up until a couple of months ago. My suspicion of Sandra started back in June. I noticed she has become more distant and cold towards me. We talked about it and she says her job is stressing her out. Fair enough. The suspicions began to arise again a month later. I started to notice she would go to work really early and come home late. She tried to brush it off by saying she's working harder towards a promotion, but for some reason I don't believe her. A couple of days ago, I obtained her phone records and it shows that she's texted a certain number hundreds of times during July. I talked to my older brother about this. Pretty much the same thing happened to him with his wife 3 years ago, leaving for work early plus coming home late. A ridiculous amount of text messages to one number. Turns out his wife was cheating on him and they got a divorce. By the end of the convo I was in tears. I didn't want to believe it. But there is a good chance Sandra is cheating on me. IDK what to do at this point. I have no concrete proof that Sandra is cheating on me. Only suspicion. How should I approach this? DLDR, phone records plus fiancé's actions leads me to believe she's cheating on me. Help. I'd consider extracting the text messages from her phone. But if you are really at the point where you can't trust her to answer your questions about this honestly, then it is already over. Call the number to find out who, then ask her about them. You should be able to tell from her reaction and you can go from there. Update. 27 years old male, think my fiancé, 27 years old female, might be cheating. Original post, link to in description. First off, I wanted to thank everybody who commented on my original post. Most of you guys wanted me to call the number Sandra was constantly texting and I honestly was about to. She came home an hour after I had posted the original post. I was almost asleep by then and I guess she thought I was asleep. She took out her phone and unlocked it. I saw her password. Eventually she fell asleep and I unlocked her phone and searched the number on her phone. The number belonged to some guy named Jeff and the text messages were extremely sexual. Some examples. From Jeff, I love the way you bounce when we F. From Sandra, I love it when you go down on me. Those were just 2 examples of the sex between them. But there was a hell of a lot more. I screenshotted a ton of them and sent them to myself. At this point, I was done with her. I confirmed that she was cheating on me, so I decided to snoop some more and look through her photos. They were a couple of photos of her kissing and cuddling with some guy, who I assume is the same guy she's been cheating on me with. Of course I also send those photos to myself. But what threw me over the edge was a video of her. I assume one of her friends were recording this, giving some guy head. I almost lost it and woke her up to confront her, but I calmed down. Of course, I also sent the video to myself. At this point I went for a walk for nearly 2 hours. Mind you, this is the middle of the night and the area I walk through isn't the safest of areas. Still, I didn't care. I was so angry. Eventually I calmed down enough and went back to our place. I slept for maybe 3 hours and woke up. I printed off some of the texts and photos and waited for her to get up. She finally got up at about 6 a.m. When she finished eating breakfast, I slammed the text messages on the table. She looked at me with horror. She started crying and shaking. I took the engagement ring from our dresser and walked out. I came back a couple of hours later and she wasn't there. I called my landlord and told him we wouldn't be renewing our lease. I told her I was moving out and to never contact me again. I packed all my crap and moved in with a friend. So yeah, that's it. She was cheating on me and I'm done with her. She's been blowing up my phone begging for a second chance, but she's not getting one. DLDR, Sandra is a cheating bitch. She can go F herself. Sell that engagement ring and take a vacation down south. You deserve it, man. Silver lining of this is that you figured this out now, and not after you're married with couple kids with her. Now, you can just try to focus on getting over her and moving on. You never have to have any contact with her again. Good luck. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.